What's going on, YouTubers, gamers and fellow hobbyists? Welcome to P&Q, which is the monthly question and answer series where you get to ask me questions or put comments to me, then I respond the following month. Now, you can do this one of 4 ways. You can put your comments or questions down below, which is the most common way. You can email me for an anonymous response at miniwarzone@gmail.com. There will be a link in the video description below. If you happen to make a video yourself on YouTube and I see it and it raises a topic or a question and I may want to answer, I'll answer that here as well if I see it, of course. And sometimes, and it's been known to happen quite often, I meet some of you in person or someone I know just asks me a question. I think, that'd be good for P&Q. I'll answer that here as well. Anyway, that's that. Now, before I start, pick up my questions. Look at this, guys. I have, at the day of recording, which is the 13th, so any questions that will be asked from this point on will go on January's episode. We'll get out to it. 17 pages. Thanks to one person, Mr. Nick Beer, for giving me a shout out and helping me boost this question and answer series. It's like, wow. I couldn't believe it. I was going to put a little skit in about me spitting my coffee out everywhere, you know, with a laptop and that. Mrs. Mini Warzone didn't want me to do that inside for obvious reasons. And it's just too plain cold to do it outside. So use your imaginations, guys. But that is literally what happened. I turned on my laptop, lifted up the screen. Okay, let's see if we've got anything new happening on YouTube, on my channel, or P&Q, or whatever, and I almost spat my coffee out. I'd just taken a sip of coffee and I almost spat it out with shock. The subscribers had shot up, and I looked on P&Q, and there was questions on there, like loads of questions. I thought, what's going on? Then I saw your name, and I thought, right, it's Mr. Iddick Beer 40k. He's the one responsible. So first of all, and I know I've said it already, but thank you so much, Nick. Really, really do appreciate that. I mean, what a gift. This is like a Christmas present. This is like an early Christmas present from you. Thank you so much. And thank you also to all the new subscribers and my old subscribers for sticking with me. And thank you for all the questions. Wow. So I'm going to see if I can get through them. I have, apart from the questions, the lots of questions that I've got, the 17 pages of, I've got a video question, a personal question, and an email to get to address. That's the word I was looking for. Address. It's very cold today. Yes, it's very cold, and I don't know what I'm going to do with my green screen yet. Yeah, but it's very cold. Just put it that way. My heater is right at the other end of the studio, so I'm far, far away from it. So if you see me shivering or huddling my coffee, which I have, yes, and we'll come to that in the Q&A. Yeah, you'll know why. Right, so I'm going to start with the video question, the personal question, and the email, then go on to the comments from the last episode, because there's one of each of those. I have a video question. It was from IddickBeer40k on his Q&A, and he said, do you watch my P&Q videos all the way through, or do you skip through to the question and then click off? Well, I can most definitely say, sir, I watched the whole thing through because, not just because it's you, but on any Q&A, I watch the whole thing usually because on there are certain questions that crop up from other people that I think, I wonder how he's going to answer that. That's very interesting. So I will watch the whole thing through anyway, just for that. Of course, it's nice to get your own question answered, of course, but I definitely watched them all the way through. Okay. I have an email. It says, yo man, Nick. Yo man. Nick is the man. Awesome to see your questions, Spike. Necron Nick. And then that's just how it's written. It says, okay, question for you. Do you like to cook? And if so, what? All the best. I prefer, well, I suppose I like cooking, and if I've got the time and the place, like a large clean cooking area, I like to. I think I prefer to bake than cook, which is more like a more specialised version of cooking. So working with pastry and things like that. But yeah, pasties are my speciality, definitely. Personal question, which was asked to me by my friend, or a good friend of mine. He said, how did you imagine, because we were talking about RPGs and particularly D&D, like when we were younger as kids and that, and the fact that we didn't have models and miniatures and all the finery that we do now. He said, how did you imagine monsters / enemies in RPGs, particularly D&D, when you were younger and didn't have the resources that you do now? Well, what we used to use is dice. Used to put the dice around. We had miniatures representing ourselves, not the best, and they were unpainted for a long time, or the longest time during my school years. But we had the dice, of course, and yeah, we used to put dice around us. Oh, these are orcs, these are goblins, these are whatever, bandits. Just be dice. Like maybe, I don't know, 4d6 and the d20. He's the leader, the D20, so it really was a case of using your imagination. But yeah, good times. I remember that. Of course, now got more miniatures, and I'm looking up there because that's where I keep what I call my interesting miniatures and role-playing miniatures. I'm adding to the collection for those. Right, Capitan Morgan's Wargames. This is on to last episode. He says, I have a few questions for your Q&A. First one is a more personal one. I have a long time before my next book from my favourite author comes out, and I can't find anything else that captures me. So I thought I would try your wife's book. So first part, what is her book called? Second part, what name is it under? And part 3, where can I buy it from? Now for the other questions. With chapter approved out in a short while, what do you hope to see from it? How much time a week do you spend on hobby-related stuff? Well, okay, let's deal with my wife's book to start with. So for those of you that don't know, my wife is an author. She's actually writing her 3rd book as we speak. And only one of them is out at the moment, though, because the 2nd book, Parallax, is being put to publishers and so on. And we're hoping to get some a good response from that. Right, the first book, what's your first part of the question? What is her book called? It's called A Knight of Phalor, as in Knights of the Round Table, so K-N-I-G-H-T. What name is it under? Bex Gooding is the name. And where can you buy it from? Amazon. And there's a link, actually, if you look in my video description, there's a link in every video description that I put up to my wife's book, and you can go straight to it from there. You can either buy it like through Kindle or electronically or physical book, so it's up to you what you'd prefer. So you can get it from Amazon, and like I say, the link's in the video description below. Right, now for the other questions. With chapter approved out in a short while, do you hope to see from it? I suppose nothing personally, but I like to see other people, especially, and I gauge their reaction from watching their videos. So I'm huddling my coffee to keep my hands on because it is cold. It won't take long for the studio to heat up, but for now it's cold. I like to see other people's reactions from chapter. I like to see people happy with their new rules for their armies and so on. Personally, I'm not too bothered about what comes out of it, because I've got a lot of armies anyway, and I don't really mind. I just don't mind. But I hope people get what they want from it. I really do. How much time a week do I spend on hobby-related stuff? 2 days, really. Not full days, but the most of the day, obviously, because I've got to get up. Wednesdays and Thursdays at the moment, at the time of recording. By the time you're watching this, who knows? I might even have another job. I don't know. But yeah, that's something I'm hoping for the new year. But at the moment, Wednesdays and Thursdays I can dedicate to making videos, so that's what I do. Okay, on to Big Mick Dan Skull. He says, great stuff, Pete. I prefer the monthly format. That's good. This used to be weekly, as you know. I'm just going to almost over the first page here. Question for the next one. If you were to start collecting 40k with a clean slate, i.e. got rid of all your current models, which faction would you start fresh with? That's a good question. I'd probably start with Sisters of Battle, what with their new beta codex coming out with the new chapter approved. But I would also go with Tyranids as well, which was my first army anyway. I would go with them again, but I would go with Sisters of Battle now, which will probably be my next. Army anyway. I suspect. Is it going to be that or Custodes? Or Custodes? I don't know how you pronounce it. Right. Yeah. So that is what I would start fresh with. Sorry, I can hear my dog barking intermittently, so I don't think there's anyone at the door. All right, next question. We come from one of my new subscribers. It's a Blizzaz. I'm sorry, by the way, if I butcher anybody's names. I don't mean to. I'll do my best, and you can always correct me if I'm wrong. So Blizzaz says, Idic Beer 40k sent me. Ching. Question for next time. What do you think of the return of formations in the new Vigilus campaign? Necrons for the win. I think formations are cool. I quite like the idea of formations. I haven't seen the new Vigilus campaign book or whatever myself, but I don't mind formations, certainly. It's I don't know, I like the idea of it. It gives it a more, I don't know, a strategic feel to the game. Makes it feel more, I don't know, clever. I don't know how else to describe it. But yeah, I like the idea of formations. So whether I get that campaign or not, that book or not, remains to be seen. But I'm okay with formations, definitely. Okay, next one. Wallace P Games. Just heard about you via Idic/Nick. Well, there we are. Thank you very much. Looking forward to check your channel out. Would you recommend a newcomer like me to use cheap pound shop brushes first, or use the sable brushes from the get-go? Definitely don't use cheap ones, because you just can't paint as well with them, regardless of your level. This is my opinion, but get the best brushes you can, you can afford or get hold of, straight away. That said, there are some nice synthetic brushes you can get, and I use synthetic brushes sometimes. Depends on what make. Winsor and Newton are kind of the, the well-known brand, I suppose, in the hobby. And Army Painter, I suppose, for a cheaper version. I use a lot of Army Painter brushes, and I think they are perfectly good. And I chop and change, like is it Daler and Rowney and things like that. But you find your own. But what I'm trying to say is get the best brushes you can to start with, because I don't think even the best painters would be able to paint well with pound shop brushes. They might do, but they'd certainly find it a challenge. Hey, that could be an idea for a challenge, couldn't it? Pound shop brush painting challenge. I'm not going to enter it though. Thank you for your question. Thank you so much. All right, the next one comes from High Confessor Nicodemus. Got some cool names here. I'm liking these names. Nick sent me, smiley face. Thank you. There's going to be a lot of that, I suspect. What is your opinion about a civil war in the Imperium? As I see it, Guilliman is a heretic. He stole the Emperor's blade, he had a Magus defile the holy gene seed of every Primarch, and he denies the legitimacy of the, I can never say this word, Ecclesiarchy, while also denying the Emperor's divinity. You know what I mean. Can't wait for the new Plastic Sisters to purge the Primaris heresy, smiley face. Wow. A civil war in the Imperium, I think, any war in it is good, isn't it? Because it means more lore, more story, more campaign ideas, more coolness. So you think Guilliman's a heretic? Stole the Emperor's blade. he is kind of one of the ones. I mean, he could have been. He was almost named War Master instead of Horus. So he was, but he didn't want that title. I guess he felt it was beneath him. And I suppose you could argue that Corvus Corax did a similar thing in Deliverance Lost, the book Deliverance Lost, which is the Horus Heresy, where he kind of used. He was trying to create a better a space marine, wasn't he? Which he did, but it got the gene seed kind of got manipulated by the bad guys, and I can't remember now. But basically created the chaos. A lot of chaos stuff went on there. So he did a similar thing. He didn't steal it though. But I don't know about Gilliman, whether he had permission to do that or not. I know, well, Corax did have permission. It was kind of the last time he spoke to the Emperor before the Emperor kind of stopped speaking to anybody or seeing anybody. Even then, he didn't see him face to face. He spoke to him through one of his advisors or someone. He just took on the Emperor's voice and he was speaking to him. But yeah. As for the new Plastic Sisters, oh, bring it on, baby. Bring it on. I'm there. Yeah, Plastic Sisters, they will definitely purge any heresy, though, because they are just so cool. They will wipe out all that heresy, heretic stuff. Definitely. All right. Idic Beer 40k is next. The man, the myth, the legend. Hey Nick, he says, great show Pete. If on average you had 10 questions a week, then you're looking at just over 2.2 thousand questions. Wow. I have had a couple comments on my channel that drinking on camera is unprofessional and disgusting. However, I think it adds to the fact that you're just doing a chilled out video. Obviously you can't please everyone, but how far do you go to please your audience? P.S. Shared in the Unification Facebook group. Thank you. Again, thank you. I'm in your debt. Yeah, how far do you go? Well, I'm going to be drinking this because it's starting to cool down now and it's not making my hand hot anymore. So, and my voice goes, as you know. So I'm going to have a sip. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, guys. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Ah, there you go. Done it. So, yes, Pete does drink from time to time on his videos, mainly on my On the Bench series, and I'm pointing out because that's the direction of my bench in the studio, and sometimes on these. Please your audience. Well, as you say, you can't please everyone, and I agree with you. I think it is a more chilled out thing to, you know, have a drink. At the same time, yeah, I get if you're swallowing hard and making really weird noises over it. I can see that. Some people do that anyway when they swallow naturally, or they smack their lips a lot. Some people do that in videos. I notice Ash from not Mini War Gaming, Grilla, whatever it is. He used to work at Mini War Gaming. You know what I mean. He does it a lot, but I don't watch much of his stuff. Grilla Miniature War Gaming, is it? I don't know, but I notice he tends to do that. But yeah, I think if you need a drink, you need a drink. I find smaller sips less noisy, so maybe a compromise there. I don't know. Thank you for your question, Nick. Thank you so much. I feel like a newsreader. Next one is from James Teal, who says, Nick from Idic Beer 40k recommends you. Thank you again. What kind of impact do you expect from, Chapter Approved 2018? The meta will likely shift, balance may ebb and flow. As trends shift and different tournaments post winners, all of these things can affect sales. How do you think it may change people's preparations for the Las Vegas Open and the players' ITC standings? And then he goes on, there's another question. I will just, excuse me, I've got hiccups now. Let's deal with this first. What kind of impact do I expect Chapter Approved 2018. About the same as Chapter Approved 2017, I suppose. Let me see, do I have... I'm probably going to get a few questions to do with Chapter Approved, but I don't think it'll make a huge difference to people, because people tend to, like the hardened fans, they just tend to accept whatever comes their way. I'll speak more a bit about it on another question when I get it. Hopefully I can kill two birds with one stone with that, especially with the talking about affecting sales and that. So I will come back to that, hopefully. How will it change people's preparations? Well, they'll just probably be able to take more units to make up the points, I think, or more models. So pack more models, guys. It says, I don't mean for my questions to be completely 40k competitive focused. That's good, because I'm not a competitive player. I'm very much just have a laugh type of player, and I've gotten on well with that. But I see the appeal of competitive play. I see the appeal of that, and I enjoy watching and hearing about people's competitive antics. How do you feel about the new direction of plastic kit design? I don't know, I'm just taking it as, as I find it, really. I'm finding... I quite like things like easy fit, but at the same time, I find them harder to convert, because I'm not the best converter, and I think it's harder to convert them than it is like the conventional plastic models. I like that overall plastic kits seem to be getting more and more detailed. I like that. But yeah, I don't know the future, especially with 3D printing and so on, how that's going to affect it. We'll all have to have 3D printers in our households soon, but I expect that day will be here before we know it. I don't know how many questions I should barrage you with, as many as you want. I will answer them all, or I'll at least address them, or may not answer them, or answer them to your satisfaction, but I will certainly address them. Definitely. So yes, but hopefully I'll come back to your chapter approved thing when I get another chapter approved question. I can deal two at once then. Basic miniature painting is next. Says, hi Pete, how are you? A question. If you could go back in time, to which era would it be? Oh, the 80s. No question about it. The 80s. They were the best times for me. Life was simpler and more fun. The 80s. And the music was better. Okay, so... Hey, I swallowed it and I smacked my chops there, so I'm going to have to do it again. Okay, next one is... Aviad Madar. Is that right? Aviad Madar? Aviad Madar? I don't know. I'm trying to get these names right. Aviad Madar. Aviad Madar. Tell me if I'm wrong or right or whatever. That's fine. I'll do my best. New sub. Been watching the backlog. Great stuff. Question. With the new sweeping point drops for several armies in chapter approved, I've started wondering if being able to field a larger force is the right way to go for balance. Increasing the size of the force could lead to longer games and forcing people to purchase more models. Yes, that's something I want to talk about later. Do you think it's time to look into updating unit profiles or armies' abilities for balance instead? I think they're always being updated anyway, and I do have to wonder how clever are Games Workshop when it comes to that. I think they're quite switched on. I don't. This is just a personal opinion, but I don't actually think Games Workshop are bothered about balance. Well, they are to a certain degree, but not overtly. They're not, it's not the be-all end-all for them. And I'll come on to why I think that later when I think there's another one question. I want to try and answer this chapter proof thing in one hit if I can. Right. So I'm going to move on. Vitor Pereira. Vitor Pereira. Sorry, I'm useless at names. Vitor Pereira. Cool sounding. Probably I'm saying it wrong though. Sorry, apologies to everyone who I get their names wrong, by the way. Sent by Nick Beer. Bows. Do you think Chapter Approved 2018 is enough to make Necrons a truly competitive army? Also, which unit for Necrons do you think had the biggest improvement? Well, I don't know because I haven't seen Chapter Approved myself. I've only heard bits here and there about it, and I haven't heard anything about Necrons. A truly competitive army. Well, what does a truly competitive army mean? I mean, it's difficult to say. And the definition of truly competitive or competitive is that an army that's overpowered. Is that what is meant by competitiveness? And then again, it's down to someone's opinion as to what is overpowered. How do you class overpowered? If your army stomps every other army into the ground apart from one particular army, and you're competitive, that might not be overpowered enough for you. So as far as in your mind, it's not overpowered, you know, because you can't beat all the armies. I don't know. That's I think I get what you were asking though. Maybe a bit better because they ebb and flow, don't they? Necrons in their power, competitiveness, but I don't know. Sadly, I don't know. It's a good question though, and hopefully someone can answer it. Moving on to Michael Widener. It says, nice show, Pete. What is your favourite 40k model in both looks and gameplay, and why? Sent over by Nick Beer. Again, thank you, Nick. My favourite model in looks is the original Imperial Knight. Gameplay. Gameplay. That's a good question. I think Gene Stealers, not for their rules, just because I like playing Gene Stealers. I like moving them around the board with their 4 arms. I don't know why. That sounds crazy, but I get more joy moving Gene Stealers around the board than I do, you know, any other model. Really, I think, you know, tanks included. But in looks, it's the Imperial Knight. Ian Covert is next. Says, hey there, new friend. Nick Beer sent me over, and I'm happy he did, lol. By now, the new Chapter Approved has come out, and my question is, what is your favourite new role or change to come out, and your least favourite? Cheers. I'm going to have to address this now. I don't know how many more questions there will be with Chapter Approved on it. Oh, I don't know. Right, okay, well, I know that the new Chapter Approved gives you more match play missions. I know that there's a lot of points changes, including the Forge World rules for the Forge World units. I suspect that models that don't sell well will probably be cheaper points wise. That would make sense from a business standpoint for Games Workshop to do that. And as I said earlier, I don't know how clever they are, whether they have someone or a team that actually looks into that, or whether it just so is happen chance that it seems to work that way for them. Favourite new rule, I suppose it would be, without knowing what they are, but the fact that they've updated the battle terrain rules. So you've got more rules for terrain now, which is cool, because I think that was kind of lacking before. I'm not so fussed about First Blood and First Strike rules, not really. I quite like the rule, the fact that there's going to be, and I haven't seen it, but it's just what I've heard, the rules for the 8 from the Farsight Enclaves with Commander Farsight and so on. So that'd be cool. Although I hear it's 1,120 points to field, so wow, that's a lot of points cost. Yeah, that's including Commander Farsight. Psychic Focus is another good one because that reduces smite spam, I suppose, because it keeps increasing the difficulty, I think, or the number you need to roll to pull it off. Battle Brothers was another one that was mentioned. Don't know much about it, but yeah. But yeah, I do think they're going to make models cheaper, especially ones that aren't selling as well. I heard that Space Marines, their points, about 50% of their points have changed. Now I don't know whether that's probably going to be for cheaper, because most people have got Space Marines by now. That's why they introduced the Primaris thing. And so people might think, I've got lots of Space Marines, but I need more, and I can afford them now, points wise. Let's get some more. It would make sense. It would just make sense. Right. Ben Ellis says, great video sent over by Nick Beer. Thank you, Mr. Beer. As a fan of kit bashing, if you could convert anything, what would you do and why? If I could convert anything. Oh, I don't know. I would convert a Hierophant into a mixture of the Hierophant and Imperial Knights. Like, be a mechanized Hierophant. And I don't know lore-wise or story-wise how that could ever possibly come about. Maybe captured by a bunch of orcs. It'd have to be a lot of orcs. And made into this massive Tyranid mech. I just think that would be awesome. Thank you for your question. Roy Oliver is next. Says, just come over from IDIC. Looking forward to your Q&As. Thank you. Thank you, Roy Oliver. Thank you very much. William Cuby says, well, I know it's Monday morning and did go to my eye doctor's. There's bad rain. Okay, next time. Question, RPG or tabletop? Depends what mood I'm in. What do you like? Okay, board game or video games? Board games. Don't play any video games now. I used to years ago. I used to play a lot of video games back in the 80s and 90s. And see Sonex to do RPGs. Sound effects, yeah. Okay, let me do 40k, be Metal and Mighty, and some soundtrack from Dawn of War. Yes, a mix. Do have for Warhammer Fantasy Battle music. Alright, I see. If did be something guess of the time. Well, next month, yes. We'll try the live thing, but not at 4 AM or 7 AM, late noon or 4 PM. That's my time. Well, good luck to you with that. Yeah, lives. It can be fun. It's got to fit in with your lifestyle, though. So, Inquisitor Zane says, I have a question. In your opinion, what is the coolest infantry type weapon in 40k, both in how it works and how it looks? Same with ship-based or mounted weapons. Which is your favourite? Well, I don't know. The coolest weapon in 40k for me, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, is the standard bolter. I just think that is so cool. And I see people that have made their own at cosplay events and things like that. And they just look the bee's knees. Because it's so iconic, I can recognise it straight away. Whereas some weapons, not that many people always know what it is. But you know, you walk around a convention with a bolter, people seem to know what they are. Ship-based or mounted weapons, which is your favourite? Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I suppose missile type as opposed to laser type. Throat is going dry. Oh, cool sign. Thank you for your question. A cool sign that we have a lot of questions. It also says, by the way, I was recommended over by Nick. Thank you, Nick, again. Thank you, Inquisitor Zane. Alex Attempts Tabletop says, good video as per. Really think this monthly format will do good in the long run, smiley face, as by the time you read this, it will be December. Yes, it's almost mid-December now. Have you got any new hobby goals for the new year? Yes, to keep going the way I'm going, hopefully, just keep putting the videos out there, keep gradually improving here and there where I can, and maybe upgrade some of my equipment next year. Maybe that would be nice. I want to get a new chair next year for my hobbying, mostly for the painting. And the chair I'm sat in now is okay, but it gets a bit uncomfortable after a long time. It will give me another chair in here if we do role playing in here, which would be cool. Hopefully do some more role playing next year. That would be nice. I'm really hoping to get involved more with that. Excuse me. And just keep painting the models, putting out the content, and just doing my thing. Playing more games definitely is high on my list of, high on my priority list of things to be doing next year. So I'm going to get more games in next year than I did this year. Thank you for your question. Lord17C says, nice video, man. What is your favourite model to paint? Broodlord. Just like the look of the Broodlord. I like the Broodlord. Wizard Wargaming says, awesome video. First time I watched one of these from you. Keep up with the great work. Question, what is your favourite game to play and why? Sorry if this was asked before. Never apologise for asking questions that you think may have already been asked. It's inevitable. And a lot of questions I get asked have been asked many times. And that's fine. It doesn't matter because people come and go as a watching audience with Q&As and things like this. It's you tend to have a certain amount of people, and then some of them veer off, and then new ones come in, and that can be from your own subscriber list, which I've noticed, particularly in my P&Qs. So yeah, what is my favourite game to play and why? Zombicide. I know that's more of a board game, but it's my favourite game to play because I get to play it with my family, and we have such fantastic game nights with Zombicide and all its various editions. Yeah, so Zombicide is my favourite game to play because they're definitely the loudest and most animated games that we play. I have some good D&D sessions as well. I don't get to play Warhammer as much as I would like, unfortunately. Don't know if that would be my favourite. It is one of my favourites in terms of the game and the detail and the setting, but they can go on quite long. I like games that, you know, you can be done in an hour or two, whereas some games of Warhammer can go on for till the next day or the weekend. It seems to go on a long time, hours and hours. Thank you for your question, Wizard Wargaming. Right, going on to Commander Kuja. How is it going? He says, Hayes, my question for you is all the latest FAQs and chapter approved. What is your most hated unit to go against and why do you hate it so much? Stay awesome, dude. And to you, sir. I don't hate going up against anything because I've got quite a lot of armies. And I have enough to not necessarily deal with, but to answer certain things that crop up. So I've got Space Marines. In Space Marines, I've got Ultramarines, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Chaos Space Marines. So Chaos, I've got Chaos. Tyranids, Orcs, I've got Tau now, Necrons. I can answer most things. Yeah. So I don't hate going up against anything, but you mean like, oh no, he's bringing up. I suppose anything I've never been up against before would answer that question. I'd be like, I don't actually know. That looks scary, but I don't know what it does. Might not be that bad, but just the look of something I've not encountered before is enough to send shivers down my spine. I remember when I was playing back at the club, when I used to play Hordes a lot. Every time I came out with a new model, my opponent would be like, oh no, and he'd be scared, even though not always was it such a bad thing. statistic-wise and gameplay mechanic-wise. Sometimes it was, but yeah, it's just anything new, I suppose. Who took my dice? Miniature Wargaming says, sweet, good luck on the premiere. It worked out okay, I suppose. I don't think anybody really watched it, but it was good for me to go through. It's going to be 4 AM my time, a bit early for me, but I'll most definitely be watching. Yeah, I just wanted to try all the premiere things, see how it worked out. Now I know for future I'll probably put these up on a different day, on the days that I would premiere them. So I'm not going to premiere this episode. It's just going up as a normal episode, apart from the fact that it's a long episode. How long have I been going? Wow. Yeah, just looked at the time. Michael Jenkins says, great video. Have you ever had any success with removing the paint from models and repainting them? Yes, I actually did that for a commission once on somebody's vampire counts. I had to strip the lot of them. They were very, very badly painted, and so I stripped them back to bare plastic. In some cases their arms and that came off because, well, no, the glue wasn't that great either, and I redid it all and repainted them all, and they were ecstatic with the results. So yeah, I have. Easier to strip metal than it is plastic, and I've done both, but it's no problem. I just use Dettol and go really carefully and methodically when I remove the paint. Gogo Gleno says, Idic sent me, hey, liked and subscribed. I haven't been through your archive, so apologies if you've been asked this before, no problem. I've gotten back into 40k in the last 3 months, and the fluff has changed considerably since 5th edition lol. What cool narrative would you like to see next? Another Primarch coming back? Which one? Emperor dying, ascending, things like that? I do think about that a lot. Primarchs coming back are always cool. Emperor dying and ascending? Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable. I think, you know, he's obviously got to die, hasn't he? Maybe he could be reborn, the Emperor reborn. I think that's something that they will probably look at. The Emperor will die, he'll be reborn or remanifest as something else, something greater. I don't know. He'll come back as the ultimate. He'll get, I don't know, they'll use his DNA or something, whatever's left of it, to make the ultimate warrior or something. I don't know. I don't know. But Primarch's coming back. That's fine as well. Either or, or both. I'm happy with either. I'd like to see anything really. Jimmy Mac says, no questions yet, but I've subbed. Thank you, Jimmy Mac. Thank you for your support. Gabrielle Deslandes says, I just came from Midic. Thank you so much. I subbed and liked. Try to be more positive. I trust in you, man. Keep up the great content. I've watched you. Well, I haven't been negative. It's just, I mentioned last time that it can get a little bit disheartening when you put a lot of effort into doing a video and you don't get the views you hope for. I wasn't not being positive. I'm definitely a positive person. Ha! Move the microphone away when you swallow. That could be the answer. Fortunately, that's all my coffee gone now. Well, fortunately for you guys. Who took my dice again? Miniature Wargaming. This great video as always, my friend. Couple of questions for you. With Calgar and his honour guard being primarised, that's a good word, and the rumour of more characters joining their ranks, what do you think this means for the mini-marines? Is their time officially over? Secondly, with all the prefabricated easy build scenery out, do you think this is bad for the hobby as it may stop people from building their own terrain? Or is this just another cool option? Yes, I think it's a cool option. Lastly, Star Trek or Star Wars as well. Do I think it's the end of the mini-marines? Or what do I think this means for the mini-marines, actually? I'm just going to, whilst I'm here, put my phone onto silent. Because I didn't do that before. There. What do I think it means? I don't think it will mean anything for them, at least not yet. There's too much when you say what does this mean for the mini arrays, you mean the models or the guys in the lore themselves? If you mean the models, I don't think they'll get rid of them. And in the lore themselves, I don't think they can either, because there's too many of them, and there's too many books out. You know, so much of the Horus Heresy has been written, so they are part of the history for 40k. Whether they would come up with, I don't know, Warhammer 50k or something in the future, I don't know. Progress it, you know, another 10,000 years. That's something they could do. They could always do that, I suppose, bigger and better. Yeah, I think the prefabricated scenery, I just think it makes it more accessible. It's more cool options for people who are less capable and able to build their own terrain from scratch, to scratch build it. So, you know, it helps people like myself get good, cool terrain on the tabletop. Star Trek or Star Wars? Well, if you'd asked me that maybe last year or whenever it was, before I saw The Last Jedi, I would have said Star Wars, but Star Trek now. Star Wars is dead for me now, and don't get me onto that rant. Do not. Right. Thank you. Okay. Blue Demonica says, Idic Beer 40k sent me over. Thank you. And I'm interested to see what your channel is up to. Always up to something here. Questions for your Q&A, if no one asked this already. Doesn't matter if they have. 1. Do you believe that GW is going to replace regular Space Marine models with all the Primaris models? If so, how do you feel about this upgrade, and what do you think should happen to the regular older models? I don't think that they'll replace them. I just don't think they will. They'll just be alongside them. That's just something I think and feel. It's cool that they have been upgraded, but I don't think they. Well, I don't think they should get rid of them, and I don't think they will. 2. Would you ever want to have or own a Titan mana pool? How large would you want your Titan mana pool to be? AKA, how many models and which ones are they? What colour scheme would you paint them? I don't think I'd ever want to own them. That's from the Adeptus Titanicus, is it? How large do you want your Titan mana pool to be? Probably, if I was to do it, I'd have the 5, you know, the 5 models. I don't know which ones, I really don't. I've never really been into the Titanicus, the Titan stuff. Maybe one day. What colour scheme would I paint them? Red, yellow, gold, silver. Would probably be my colour choice. I don't know, I just plucked that out of the air. Maybe one day when I've got more space, I'll have some Titan models. As a game, Adeptus Titanicus, it looks quite cool. I can see the appeal of it. It's yeah, not for me yet. That's all I can say. Not yet. Arch Unit is next. Says Idic Beer 40k sent me question. Do you know of any good LED lighting kits for large models interiors? No, I'm afraid I don't. All I do know is they look fantastic when it's pulled off, and when people do that, it looks amazing. Again, this is going to be something that I do later on when we move to somewhere bigger and I have a bigger studio. Although this studio, for those of you that don't know, this studio was purpose built for the hobby. So this area is actually in the back end of my garden, where there was an old dilapidated wooden shed at the time, and it was all cleared away, and I had brick building built purely for my hobby, and now it's getting smaller and smaller because I'm getting more and more stuff. I'll do a studio update in maybe the near future. I'll try and get it done this year. I know a lot of people have asked me to do one, and I'll go through that. How did I get to there from LED lighting kits? I don't know. Sorry, though I don't know of any good kits. I have never done anything like that myself, although it would be cool to do such a thing. Love Minis is next. Says Idic Beer sent me. Do you think the points change for Space Marines will make them a force to deal with again? Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because I believe it's all getting cheaper. William Kuby again says, 4 AM. Not happening. No, 4 PM. That may be. But this, I don't know what you mean by that. Grim Gamer says, Idic Beer 40k sent me. Says, question for next time. What is your favourite model in 40k? I think, I don't know. Favourite model in 40k? I don't know. I like the Imperial Knights. The original ones, just, I don't know, something about them. I like the Broodlord now. I like Magnus the Red. I think he's a fantastic model. I don't know, that's like asking me where will I park in an empty car park. I just can't choose. Thank you for your question. Dudley Grimm is next. Says, Idic Beer sent me. Yay! Question. With all the leaks for the new Sisters of Battle beta codex already making the rounds online, what would you personally like to see the army receive? Either rules or potential models, new units. Just the fact that they're receiving some love is cool. And the beta codex will probably be the reason I purchase Chapter Approved 2018. I'd like to see more new units. I'd like to see some bigger units, because maybe, I don't know, they don't have much in the way of anything, really. They just need more. I think I'd quite like to see a Sisters of Battle version of a Dreadnought. Sisters, you know, a Sisters of Dread or something. I don't know. I don't know. I'd quite some bigger units for them, for their infantry, and some more tank type stuff and artillery. That would be cool. I'm definitely getting Chapter Approved when it's available to me. Chris Churchill says, Necrons! Hey, that's good. Necrons. What got you into 40k and what army did you start with and why? Okay, this is a long story, so I'll give you the really short, you know, abridged version. Many years ago, I was diagnosed with having multiple sclerosis, and my employer offered me a very attractive a very attractive financial package to leave the company, as they were downsizing anyway, which I did. I did that. But then I found I was kind of bored. I had nothing to do, so I started writing. I started writing a book, because I'm an okay writer. I started writing a book, got to a scene where I needed to visualize it physically. With I thought models. Let's get some models on, make some models so I can visualize this, so I can write about it. And I just went into my local town centre, happened into Games Workshop, because it was empty at the time. I'd never been in there before. I was looking for, I mean, I didn't know about models or general model shops or anything. I just saw Games Workshop. I thought they'd be a place to sell models. I went in there looking for trees, as it happened. And you can probably guess the rest of the story. Got talking, ended up playing a game of Dark Vengeance with the guy in the store. Came out with loads of stuff. The rest, as they say, is history. Got into this hobby, and it's been fantastic for me, my health, and my general well-being ever since. Yeah, yeah. So an illness got me into the hobby. I started with Tyranids because, you know, I didn't know anything about it really, but I started with them because I thought, monsters in outer space, what more do I want? Nothing. I like monsters, and I like space and science fiction. Monsters in space, a winner. Thank you for your question. Next question comes from Wes Duval. Hope that's right. He says, Nick led me here. Hey, Nick is the man. Don't have any questions, but I've watched a few vids and I like your content. you know I've got to say it. Necrons! Absolutely. Thank you. Right. Forsetti52, I hope that's right as well. Says, just heard about you via idic/Nick. Thank you, sir. Looking forward to checking out your channel. What are your thoughts on the new Sisters of Battle? What has changed about them? Well, I don't know what has changed about them, if anything. I'm sure something has. But what are my thoughts on it? Bring it on, bring it on. I want it, I want it, I want it. Sisters of Battle. The more I'm talking about it now, the more excited I'm getting. And I want to get this chapter approved so I can get the Sisters of Battle. What was it? Adeptus Sororitas? I don't know what that... Yeah. Going to be my next army. Definitely going to be my next army. I don't know what's changed about them though. But I can't wait. I want to see some new models from them. Plastic Sisters. Come on, guys. Jonah Baker is next. Says, Nick from Idic Beer said to me, how do you think the leaked chapter approved will affect Necrons on the table? Well, they've kind of gone up. It'll probably make them a little bit more powerful, I reckon. Because, you know, it tends to go up and down, doesn't it? I think they'll be a little bit more powerful. I don't know in what way, but I think they will. Charles Salmon is next. Says, Idic Beer sent me, subbed. Thank you on both counts. Question, do you think or would like to, well, who do you think or would like to is the next Loyalist and Demon Primarch to come? I don't know. I'd like to own a Lionel Johnson for my Dark Angels. I don't know. Demon Primarch, don't know. That's a question. And your picture for your channel says it all. Thinking pose. Yes, that's one I'd have to think long and hard about. I'd say Lionel Johnson. I don't think he's out yet, is he? Lionel Johnson. Don't know about Demon Primarch though. Oh, if I can pronounce this one. Sean Gawecki? Sean Gawecki. Sorry if I'm getting it wrong. Cool dog. Anyway, I just found your channel. Good stuff. I love the variety. I also wander around to different games. Hey, what's your favourite miniature line of miniatures? At the moment, it's Reaper. That's not to say they're the best. For me, Citadel miniatures, Games Workshop are the best models in the world, bar none in terms of detail and quality. But I like Reaper at the moment. They're my favourite because although they're not quite as detailed, they're still pretty good and they're reasonably priced, so it's a good balance. So for me at the moment it's Reaper, the Reaper model series of models. Reaper Bones. Thank you for your question. Oh no, I never pronounced this. Velshead? Velshead. Cool. These names, I'm sorry about getting the names wrong, but they are cool looking names. Idic Beer 40k sent me. Hello back. Hello. I've picked up my first airbrush, Patriot 105. Hey, good choice. A good solid workhorse of an airbrush, if you don't mind me saying so. Picked up a compressor. Any other essentials you'd recommend off the bat? Yes. Actually, there are. I don't know if I can reach. I've got myself. Get yourself one of these. Hang on. I'm reaching over to get it. Get yourself one of these bad boys. A mask. I don't know on the ventilation of your area, but you will need a mask. Gloves you've probably got. And some sort of airbrush thinner. And maybe like a Windex or Windoline or something like that to clean through your airbrush. Do it quickly. Look through my, if I remember, I'll put a link up. But look through my airbrushing for beginners series, and you may see some stuff on there, stuff that I use on a regular basis. And yeah. Trying to think off the bat. Obviously the paints you need, but definitely airbrush thinner you will need. Airbrush cleaner, you don't necessarily need that. Use the Windex to clean that. It works better in my opinion. But and it lubricates. It does that, you know, lubricates it as well. It's just as little tips and tricks really. Don't be disheartened if you start, you know, airbrushing, it all clogs up instantly, or it doesn't come out very well. That's just a matter of getting used to it, getting used to a routine and a cleaning routine, and just remember that the smallest speck of dirt can clog up the airbrush because it's a very, very tiny orifice that it's blasting the paint through. Yeah, definitely check out my airbrushing for beginners playlist. There's probably something on there of use to you. Thank you for your question. Good question. Right. King Crimson. Oh, it's actually King CR1MZ0N, but I think it's King Crimson. It says, hey man, just got turned on to your channel from Idic Beer. Thank you, Idic Beer. Now I wanted to ask, in Kill Team for Necrons, are Gauze Blasters better to have than Tesla Carbines on Immortals or not? Or should you carry a balance of both? I'd say carry a balance of both because it's Kill Team and there's not that many models, so better to have both options. I really like the extra wound for the Tesla on 6, but it seems kind of meh without a swarm to shoot. Thanks for everything, and oh boy, do I have catching up with all your content. Yeah, extra wound on a 6 for the Tesla is okay. And I get what you're saying, that it doesn't seem as good but, without a swarm, but it's just good to take down. I just think any advantage is good, you know, especially in Kill Team, because it's a skirmish game. So I've been playing Strontium Dog, and I come to realise that the smallest advantage can make a huge difference in a game where there's not that many models. Yeah, extra wound on a 6. It may seem like you're not going to get that very often, but you do get them. You do. I know it's not like you're rolling like, you know, bucket loads of dice on it or anything, but they do crop up, and it is surprising, and it definitely is a bit of a game changer for me. I think it's worthwhile. Got some catching up to do with all my content. Yes, well, some is better than others, but yeah, there is a lot of content on here. Thank you for coming over. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think we're on to the last question. Yes, because this goes on to 2 pages. Wow. Stephen Green. Okay, let's read this. It says, Idic Beer sent me. Hey, no surprise there. Great video. I'm starting to check out your other videos. Question 1. I recently returned to the hobby after about 12 years absence and was drawn to the Gene Stealer cult for the lore, the awesome models, and the ambush mechanics. Sorry. What is your favourite 40k army in terms of lore, models, and gameplay? Let's do that one first. My favourite model, my favourite 40k army in terms of lore, models, and games, definitely Tyranids. I love the lore and the mystery surrounding them. I just love that. And the models, some of them are starting to look a bit dated, but they are gradually, well, they were at one point gradually updating them. I love the look of them. I just love the look of them. I'm not so keen on the older Gene Stealers. I prefer the newer Gene Stealers. But yeah, Tyranids. And gameplay, I say gameplay, they're not the most competitive army. We talked about competitiveness before. They're not a top tier army. I don't think they ever will be, but they should be. But I'm just more used to Tyranids, I guess, than anything else. Question 2. I saw you have videos on World of Darkness. Yes, and seem to be an RPG fan. Big RPG fan. I myself run several different systems for a weekly game group. Sadly, they're not wargamers though. Yeah, mine aren't either. I got my start in 2nd edition D&D and 1st edition World of Darkness. My favourite character I've ever played was a dwarf dragon slayer who was dumber than dirt but strong as a titan. What is your favourite character you've ever made in a game with? What is your favourite game system? Wow, that's a lot. Favourite character I've ever been in a game? It was a character, it was like a wizard type character, like a mage, based on the character Raceland from the Dragonlance series. It was from a game called Talislanta though, so it wasn't like humans, like orcs, elves and all that, none of that in that game, but loads of different species. But I can't remember what he was now. I really can't. But Talislanta was the game. My favourite game system RPG at the moment is D&D 5th edition. I go through, well, I've got three. My three favourites are D&D, Call of Cthulhu and World of Darkness systems. So that's my three top games, and I will dip in and out of other games, just like the odd one-offs, you know, one-shot games and things like that. But those are my three main favourites. I suppose at the moment D&D is the one that's I'm liking the most because it's the only one I'm playing at the moment. The only trouble is it's not regular. Say sometimes a couple of weeks can go by before everybody can manage. Trouble is we're all older now. The game group, we're older now, and we've got different jobs and different commitments in life, and it just gets in the way. Whereas like when we were younger, we all had, like, you know, pretty much every evening was spare and we all could make the games. Now we're older, we just can't, but that's just the way of it. I've considered online role-playing, but for me, it just doesn't beat being around a table in person, actually seeing the people, the other characters there and then, and making the story on the tabletop there in front of you. Nothing beats that for me, and you just don't get that online. But yeah, thank you very much for your questions. Thank you so much to all of you. I know this has been a very long episode, and apologies for that, but what a fantastic episode. It's been a fantastic time for me. All these questions, I just absolutely loved it. Thank you Nick Beer for what you did. What a fantastic gift. By the time you see this, you'll have probably had Christmas, and I hope you all have a very good Christmas, or are having a very good Christmas, especially those of you that aren't working, and those of you that are working, certain people, myself included, working like Boxing Day and whatever. I expect some of you even working Christmas Day. Funny enough, I've been offered a job, Christmas Day and Boxing Day only. I'm thinking, no, I've already got a job where I'm having to work Boxing Day anyway, so not good. But yeah, thank you so much. Have a great Christmas. I really do appreciate all you've done and all you'll continue to do. Thank you for your continued support. If you're new to the channel, hit the click on the mini Warzone logo. That'll just subscribe you straight away. Share the video as much as you can. Yeah, what can I say? Remember, all brushes lead to war, folks, because they do. I'm going to see you on the next video. I hope so. Please come back. Any questions that were asked after this was recorded will be on the next episode. So thank you, and bye for now.